How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is PSReady, my channel all about PlayStation. All I played this weekend was Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I was with my friends online all night on Friday. This game, it's just so much fun. Like, I can see that it's just an advertisement. It's like the most corporate, distilled down game ever, but just running Nuketown for 6 hours straight was one of the most fun multiplayer experiences I've had in so long. Nicki Minaj isn't running around yet. The store isn't even populated. It's just the game. This is the best time to play Call of Duty, when it's a military shooter. I was going to say tactical shooter, but it's not tactical at all. My favorite kill streak so far is the rocket, where you can fly the rocket around the map. I ended up getting like 3 of those in one match, and it was awesome. And then I stole this guy's supply drop, and then I got this mortar strike helicopter that helped us win the match. It was awesome. So if you're kind of out on Call of Duty, like the last few didn't do it for you, like Cold War was the last one you played, I think I can recommend this one. Anyway, in today's video, I've got 4 topics to cover. The first one is that the PS5 Pro officially has double the games. Second on the list, I'm totally stealing this Push Square headline. Spider-Man 2 on the PS5 Pro will literally melt your face off. Third, we got the full spec sheet of the PS5 Pro. And finally, I'm going to tell you how to transfer all your data super easily so you're good to go on Thursday. But yeah, the PS5 Pro, it's coming out this week on Thursday. It's a big week for PlayStation. I'm excited. I saw all the other YouTubers who got sent one early have their like rules filled unboxings. You are not getting that on this channel. I was not sent one early. I paid $700 of my own money. So I'll open it up. I'll transfer over the disk drive for my PS5 Slim. I'm going to film that video as soon as that thing shows up Thursday. So expect a video then. If you want my thoughts, because they'll be different, I guess, than everyone else's. No, I'll say it. They'll be different than everyone else's because I'm buying my own PS5 Pro. Anyway, that brings us right into the first story, which is that the PS5 Pro has double the game. So for this one, you got to think back to 2016, which feels like simultaneously it was yesterday, but also a long time ago. Like, that was the first year I worked for Austin Evans. We got the PS4 Pro early in the office. We tore it down. It was an awesome experience. I went to GameStop after work and I just walked in and bought a PS4 Pro, and I was kind of surprised that I was able to get one so readily available on launch day. And I loved playing all the games on that thing. I went back and played Uncharted 4. I played some Horizon Zero Dawn. I even got a cheap TCL 4K TV to take advantage of the true 4K that they marketed the console as having, which was obviously a gimmick, but it was an awesome experience all around. But if you think back to 2016 when the PS4 Pro launched, it only had 40 games at launch, whereas now with the PS5 Pro, 90 plus games are going to launch with PS5 Pro enhanced patches. I actually went over 80 of them in a video last week. I literally read down the list, and since I did that, 10 games have been added to the list. So it seems like no matter what game you play on your PS5 Pro at launch, you're going to get a markedly or noticeably better experience. Now, the reason we can't hammer it down is because there's a lot of criteria you can meet to get the PS5 Pro enhanced badge. You don't have to meet all of it. It's essentially like if you get true 4K, if you get a locked 60 FPS in performance mode, if you have advanced ray tracing features or graphical boosts over the regular PS5, you're going to get that PS5 Pro enhanced badge. But the one that everyone seems to go with, which I really like, is taking the quality mode from the original PS5 and just upgrading it to be the performance mode on the PS5 Pro. And then they'll have their own quality mode that will once again run at 30 FPS, but it'll look even better than the quality mode did on the regular PS5. So no matter how you play your games, you're going to get a visual upgrade on this Pro console, which is Sony delivering on the marketing. So I feel like that's worth praising them for, and I'm happy about it because, again, I spent $700 of my own money on this console. I want to put a game in this thing and immediately see the difference on my 4K TV, and then I will feel like the purchase was justified. I think the first game I'm going to play is Silent Hill 2. I started that at launch on PC. I refunded it immediately because it is a mess. It doesn't have cloud saves on PC. There is an insane amount of stuttering. I can run it at a lock 60, but the animations break. Like, if you get the frame time stutters that Unreal Engine causes, it causes the main character's animation to restart, so it looks like the game is breaking down. So I refunded it. I bought it on PS5. The performance mode mode is not there. It runs between like 40 and 60. It stutters all over the place, so I go back to quality mode, and even that, when you get into the apartment building, it drops frames pretty regularly. It's not like the hard stutters you get on PC, but it was dropping frames a lot. I was playing other games for Halloween, so I figured that would be a great game to test out on the PS5 Pro. Another game I want to revisit and play the DLC for is Alan Wake 2. I loved that game when it came out. I thought it was great, and as time has gone on, I like it less. Like, a lot of people call it a masterpiece. I disagree with calling it a masterpiece, mainly because of the technical performance. On PS5, it never runs at 60, and they downgraded the graphics a lot for the performance mode. The quality mode also drops frames, and on PC, it stutters like crazy. Also, it's Alan Wake 2, and you play half the game as a different character in the setting I wanted to be back in with Alan Wake. I like Saga. I like her gameplay. I like her story, but I honestly wish that was the DLC. I wish that you got Alan's story in both settings as the main game, and then the DLC was just a second campaign where you get to play as Saga. I feel like that would have been a lot better. And just seeing that the DLC that's out now does not wrap up the story, which is insane because this game has not made back its money, I want to replay it and see if it can bring back those feelings I had when it came out. I also want to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I didn't beat that game. I want to try out some Gran Turismo 7 with the racing wheel. There's a ton of stuff that's old games I want to take advantage of, but that brings us to the second news story, which is a game that I probably won't try out, but if you waited to play Spider-Man 2, you're going to get, as Insomniac puts it, the quintessential experience on the PlayStation 5. So they put out this sizzle reel trailer today that shows you all of the enhanced features with the game, and the one that they're hammering the most is ray tracing, and that makes a lot of sense because if you remember back to last October, I remember because I had insane food poisoning from Kroger steak, and ironically I have it again right now because I went to my parents' house for dinner and they got Kroger steak and it just gave me food poisoning again 1 year later. So I was holed up on the couch and I beat it in one sitting. One of the features they pushed super hard when Spider-Man 2 came out was ray tracing. No matter which mode you were playing in, whether it was quality or performance, you got ray tracing across the board. The ray tracing just looked better in quality, and I thought that was really cool. It was one of the only games I've ever played where A, I noticed the ray tracing, and B, I didn't have to take a huge performance hit to actually take advantage of it, and C, even though they mostly used the same map from Spider-Man and Miles Morales and they just added on a couple more boroughs of New York City, it felt cooler because it was more realistic. So now you basically get to take all of the ray tracing features from quality mode, put them in performance mode, but then they've added some more in. Like, reflections are going hard. I saw reflections off of cars, like the side of vans. I saw reflections off of glass windows. They say that Spider-Man's goggles, like the lenses of them, will reflect stuff now, and I finally get the hype on ray tracing. Like, it makes the world look more realistic, and hopefully they also increase the textures and everything like that. But the game does look phenomenal in this sizzle reel, and the one thing I can say about at least Insomniac is when they show off their games look as good, if not a little bit better, when you're actually playing them on your TV in real life than they do in promotional materials. So I got to give Insomniac some credit there. I really want to know what their next game is. We know they're working on Wolverine. People were playing a leaked build of that game, but apparently, like, the director has moved to a different role at Insomniac. They're doing a full creative reboot. I'm not going to talk about the leaks because I still feel bad about that, but like, from what I saw from the leaks and the story, I think that's the smart move. It didn't really feel like the mature M-rated Wolverine game that I had when I was growing up, which was X-Men Origins Wolverine. If you never played that game, it was phenomenal. It was gory. You could literally like see the skin and muscle breaking off of Logan, and you'd see his skeleton underneath when he was like hurt, and then if you like healed, you would see it heal in real time. You could put people into helicopter blades. It was a gory ass game, and that's what I want out of this game. And what we saw from the leaks, it felt like a less mature sort of take on Wolverine. It was very teen oriented, and I don't like that. I want it to be a hardcore rated M game. Like, I want them to push the line of adults only. But regardless, it looks like Spider-Man 2 is going to be good on PS5 Pro. I got my fill of this game. I don't think I'm going to go back and check it out just because I remember most of the story, and I feel like story-wise, it was a pretty big downgrade from Spider-Man 2018. I get why you want to push having two playable characters because that makes the game feel next gen, but it definitely took away from the story. I wish they just kept it like two mainline series where Spider-Man Peter Parker gets his own games and Spider-Man Miles Morales gets his own games, because mashing it together, both stories suffered. Like, Miles' story, in my opinion, was bad on its face, but Peter's story suffered as well, and just the ending left a really sour taste in my mouth. But as far as technical showcases go and graphics, I feel like this is a great first game for your PS5 Pro if you haven't played it, or if you liked it more than me and you feel like you want to revisit it, obviously. Anyway, that brings us to the third news story of today's video, which is that the full spec sheet of the PS5 Pro leaked, and I saw a lot of arguing online about this. You don't know what teraflops are. Like, everyone loves to say like, oh, this one has this many teraflops, the old console has this many. Like, we've seen the PS5, which is old PC hardware, being pushed to its absolute limits with games looking incredible like Spider-Man 2, and now the PS5 Pro is doing the same thing. Numbers on a sheet don't mean anything. There are plenty of games that look and run better on the PS5 than on the Xbox Series X, which technically has more teraflops. Stop arguing about teraflops. You don't know what teraflops are, and you never will unless you go to like engineering school, I guess. Anyway, what's interesting about this spec sheet is that it seems to confirm that the PS5 Pro does get to take advantage of unannounced RDNA features, because on the spec sheet, it says an unspecified RDNA GPU at 16.7 Tflops. But the real meat and potatoes is comparing this to the PS5 original version. So you get 16.7 teraflops versus 10. Who knows what that means? It just means it's better, I guess. The most important upgrade is that you get 2 terabytes of onboard storage out of the box versus 800 gigabytes on the launch PS5. That is a meaningful upgrade, and I'm excited to take the 2 terabyte SSD out of my PS5 Slim and just throw it in the PS5 Pro as soon as I get it, because having 4 terabytes of storage is what I have on my PC, and that's the limit where I never run out of game space, which is awesome. They added Wi-Fi 7 support. I don't know if that's good, but I hope it works better than the Wi-Fi chip on the PS5 and PS5 Slim. It sucks. It drops connection all the time. I get slower download speeds on that than my fucking Steam Deck running on battery. Like, something is wrong with the launch PS5 and PS5 Slim's Wi-Fi chip, so hopefully using a new one results in better Wi-Fi speeds. I know you're supposed to hardwire consoles, but like, I have my TV on the first floor. I have my monitor on the second floor where I play my PS5 Slim. My house is made of concrete plaster. It was built in the 40s. You cannot do the thing that you can in new houses where you snake Ethernet cords through the wall. It can't happen. Like, I have bricks and solid concrete for most of my house. So unfortunately, I have to play on Wi-Fi. I do have a good Wi-Fi setup. I've got the Orbi system. I've got the AT&T system all running concurrently. I get good connection speeds everywhere. It is literally the PS5 that has the problem, not any other device I use. My iPads, my iPhones, my Steam Deck, my ROG Ally, and my Xbox Series X, my main gaming PC, they're all fine. They get incredible download speeds. It's just the PS5. So I hope the Wi-Fi 7 chip makes a big difference. But yeah, from the paper spec sheet, I don't know. I don't really like reading into this stuff, A, because I don't fully understand it. It means nothing to me. It's just numbers. And B, until I get the thing in my hands and start actually playing games, that's when I'll start worrying about teraflops and everything else. From everything I've seen, the gameplay that has been released, this is going to be a noticeable upgrade across the board, and that's all I really want out of it. I enjoy playing games on the PlayStation ecosystem, and I want to do it in the best way possible, and that seems to be the PS5 Pro, so that's why I'm buying one. I like how I'm justifying that on my channel called PSReady, where I'm a PS fanboy. I don't need to justify it. I'm buying a PS5 Pro, and I'm excited for it. But that brings us to the final topic of today's video, which is how to transfer your data. I put these little PSAs in, these little guides, just to make it super simple for you. So if you're keeping your original PS5 to add to a different TV, or you just want to put it away in a closet so you can sell it later, I don't care what you do with it, but you're going to have to transfer all of your stuff, because you're going to want to do that instead of re-downloading it all, because it'll be a lot quicker. So the first thing you're going to do is make sure your PS5 and PS5 Pro are plugged in. If you've got a TV and a monitor, I would put the monitor close so you can use the PS5 on one and the PS5 Pro on the other. Then you're going to go to system settings on the Pro, scroll down and go to data transfer. You'll see a bunch of screens on the Pro, and then it'll start looking over your internet network for the PS5. So make sure they're on the same Wi-Fi network. I'm going to have to do that because I have 2 Wi-Fi networks. And once it finds the PS5, it'll start transferring your data. I don't know how long it will take. It probably depends on how good your Wi-Fi setup is, but thankfully it's not going over the actual internet. It's just bouncing between your PS5 and your router back to the PS5 Pro. So because it's not accessing the internet, it should be the maximum speed that's allotted by your router. I feel like if you plugged in via Ethernet, it would go a lot quicker because most routers have extra extra Ethernet ports. So just plug an Ethernet cord into both PS5s, plug them both into your router. That should go a lot quicker, or as quick as possible, because you're going right through the router that way. And this is going to transfer basically everything. It's going to feel like the same PS5, just running better. You'll get your user account information, you'll get your PS5 console settings, every game that's installed on the internal SSD, all save data installed on the internal SSD, and all screenshots and video clips. Now, if you don't want to do this, or you have all of your games on an external SSD, it's way easier. All you do is take the SSD out of your PS5, and once you're logged in on your PS5 Pro and it's all linked to your account, pop it in the PS5 Pro, all the games will populate, they'll still be there, and anything else like saves and stuff like that will also be accessible on the Pro, which is great. And any saves that you had on the internal SSD will install from the internet if you have PS Plus, which I'm assuming you do, because you need PS Plus to access the internet on your console. So I didn't have to do this with my PS5 Slim because I use two PS5s. I will be doing this with my PS5 Pro. I'll let you know how it all goes in Thursday's video. But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for you in today's video. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and shape on.